welcome to the show. Let's run that intro. Mori ora te whānau, no mai hoki mai. Welcome back to the Practice Run, your frontline path to the heart of sports action. Brought to you by who? By 99 Dreams. Inspiring others to chase their dreams with your hosts, Rawiri, Tukohirangi, and Sam Tarangi. We're diving deep into the thrilling world of the NRL and rugby league today, and who knows where the game will take us tomorrow. Without the script, we're going from the try line to the sideline. We've got you covered.
Strap in as we tackle the big plays, the game-changing moments, and the stories that define legends. Whether you're a seasoned vet or this is your first hit-up, the Practice Run is for everyone. Every run, every tackle, every win. Experience the rush with us.
With exclusive insights, couch analysis, and a touch of humour, the Practice Run is here to keep you entertained, informed, and part of our practice squad. Because here, every practice run takes us one step closer to glory. The Practice Squad, where every listener is MVP, powering our play, every episode, every day.
We'd also like to give thanks to 99 Dreams for powering our passion. Now let's kick things off with today's lineup.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, today's lineup, we are edging ever so closely to the grand finale, the big dance, the Arena of Champions. The Premiership Gauntlet has almost been run. So we are at the semi-finals. We have Melbourne Storm hosting the Sydney Roosters. And then we have the Penrith Panthers hosting the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks. Also going on this weekend is the NRLW semis, isn't it? And then they get ready for their grand final next week as well. So I think that's, let me just quickly show some love to them real quick. It's caught me off guard. I didn't realize I was doing this until here we are. So the Broncos are also playing the Sharks on the 29th of September, the Sunday night. So it's a double header on Sunday. And the Sydney Roosters are taking on the Newcastle Knights. Currently it's Broncos in first, Roosters in second, Knights in third, and Sharks in fourth place. The Brisbane Broncos wahine are doing bits this season, so just wanted to give a quick mihi out to them. If we do have time, we'll have a gaze at those games, but we'll get there. We also have big plays and paydays coming to us today. We're also bringing in a double dip of GM mode because we missed 2 on Tuesday, so we have to run it back today. It was supposed to be Sam and I, but 2 and Sam, they'll be bringing you the Melbourne Storm and the Canberra Raiders, if I'm correct. And then before we get into any of that, we will be discussing our thoughts, opinions, reflections, suggestions on this Kailin Ponga withdrawal issue that seems to rub the NRL the wrong way. It's funny, they protect all the things that doesn't really matter, like the referees. They protect the referees with all their might, and now they're trying to interject in this Kailin Ponga situation. So we will give our thoughts, prayers, and suggestions on that issue right there. But before we do any of that, you know how the story goes. A little bit of paper, scissors, rock to get the show going. I managed to win the title back. I said in the green room, I was like, I'm probably going to lose it this episode too. I just got it. I feel like I'm going to lose it. But you know how it goes if you're a regular listener to the show. Winners win and losers lose. It's paper, scissors, rock. Ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't get much more complicated than that. Paper beats scissors. No, paper beats a rock. Rock beats a scissor, and a scissor beats a paper. That's all you need to know. Are you ready, brother?
Ready.
All right, on the count of 3, I go 3, 2, 1, then we shoot. Winners win, losers lose. Let's go. 3, 2, 1, shoot. And up.
Yeah.
Ooh, paper beats rock, ladies and gentlemen. I still don't know how paper beats a rock. Because, like, if I cover that rock, you still want to beat my ass with it. Makes no sense. One thing I wanted to ask real quick was, before we get into the show, is have you seen Snoop Dogg? He's now on The Voice.
What?
Yeah, Snoop Dogg is one of the chair turners on The Voice. Like he's what do they call it? He's a voice coach. I'm like, I've never seen the brother sing. Snoop Lion didn't do too well. And now he's a vocal coach within The Voice. And it's crack up. So I was watching an episode, he turned around and there's this country guy. And this country guy had like, Reba got blocked actually. She's like a mega country star. Then you got Gwen Stefani, whose husband is a mega country star. And then you've got Michael Bublé, who wrote Blake Shelton's biggest hit, Home. So those are the 4 judges. And this Balangi brother looks through, hears all of their yarns, and then goes, I'm picking Snoop. So I'm just like, this is the most weirdest side quest I've ever seen Snoop Dogg do. And he just got back from the Olympics, and I still think this is the weirdest side quest I've ever seen Snoop do. So to get to my point, what's one of the weirdest side quests you guys have ever gone on?
What, like side quest is in
just like a random journey that's been part of your life that you just didn't know was a thing, and then all of a sudden you did it. Like, for an example, this isn't mine, but an example is like, I did Peme as a side quest and then ended up doing postgrad because of it.
yeah. I don't know, can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Was going to India a main quest, or was that a side quest for you?
That was all I heard was India. Is all I heard. I was like, a summer school paper, a month in India. Yep. Like, I think that was the main thing. The side quest was coming back and having to do like a 3,000 word assignment, and I was like, shit, that's right. Forgot about this part of it. I'm like, what? Like, you're kidding me? Actually, I'll tell you, random one. This is years ago at school. It's kind of how I got into basketball, really. Like, I would play basketball every now and again, but then, like, you know how you have the initial meeting for basketball, how they go they do like the daily news, and they're like, if you're interested in basketball, meetings at blah 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 time. So I went to that, and they're like, okay, who's here to play like just social basketball? And I was the only one that put my hand up. There were like 50 of us in the room, and I was like, oh, hey. And then like everyone like started laughing at me. I was like, oh, whatever, all good. And then I ended up going to the trials, but I think I was injured. I didn't actually trial, but like the paper came around and I put my name on the paper, just like checked it down. Literally like 3 weeks go by, I'm not even thinking about it. I'm just chilling with all the ballers, just playing during interval and that. And then one of them who was on like the B team, like they must have had a meeting, and one of them see me and they were like, there he is. And I was like, what did I do? They were like, bro, like you're in the team. I was like, I didn't even trial. They're like, yeah, put your names down. So I was like, what the fuck? I was like, okay, that's weird. This was like a Tuesday. I think game was on Wednesday. I was like, and then the coach was like, well, are you playing tomorrow? And I was like, I don't know. And I was like, I guess so. He's like, yeah, well, time's here. Went to go the next day. I think that was like my first like game in years, like since primary school. And then I think I went to like my first training the next day after. And then that was pretty much it. Coach was like, you know how like coach pulls kids out to like take the jumper, like free throw, if you miss, like blah blah blah. First time I'd ever met him. Like, at that time I could like kind of shoot, like I could still kind of shoot then, but like only because like, I could listen. So I was like listening to what he was doing. I was like, yeah, bro. I'm pretty sure I did that practice in bare feet. I'm pretty sure I didn't have shoes then.
Yeah, that's a true Maori.
And then when I went to the game on Wednesday, I was in the stands. I was like, I don't ever want to go down. And then one of them see me. They were like, come on the bench. Jumped on the bench. Didn't have shoes, just whatever shoes I was wearing. And then coach was like, throws me a singlet, and he's like, yeah, go on. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, bro. I was like, that's the most randomest thing. And just from like going, just like playing, just to like play with my friends. Like, didn't even try. Just chucked my name down, and then there was like the B team, and our team at the time wasn't that great. It's like Tono boys, we were good enough to make nationals, like just like scrape in, but like weren't making noise. That's when you know Carter, eh? saying, yeah, this was like when he was like the best player on our team. But the year before, they had like cracked nationals, and they were slated to be pretty good. They won Super 8 that year. But the point guard got injured like 2 weeks before nationals. That pretty much ended it. They were like a 2-man team then. So then, I went from being on like the B team into like the A team in like 2 weeks, purely because half of the A team got injured, and then half of them like also didn't like the coach.
Yeah.
Like a few of them dropped out, so I just like quickly went up the picking order because like I showed up to training. He kind of liked me, like I was like listening, and then Carter was out. This when Tauranga boys used to play in the Hamilton League, the school league, because that was a way better comp. We could never beat Hamilton boys, but like just the comp over there was way better. And then it was like a quick like progression. That was funny as. I mean, crazy what would happen if I didn't go to that trial. Who knows? I think they wanted me to come back. They're like, you should come back next year. I was like, no, I'm going. Like, I don't care what you do. I was like, I'm out here, mate. Like, I'm going to uni later, Bolt.
Side quest.
That's not a bad side quest. That's not a bad side quest.
Yeah.
My side quest might have been uni.
Yo. It's a random side quest. Who just decides to, I want to get in debt. I want to go to uni.
Bro, no lies. It probably is uni. Like most of my... there's not a lot of stuff I plan out. It's more go with the flow and see what happens.
Very cheery of you.
Okay. But see, I also say no. I don't randomly end up in the mountains of Caucasus. Nah, so for me it's probably that. I finished up study. I had applied to Auckland and I had applied to Otago because at that time my mum and me had a real bad fight, and I was like, screw this, I'm out, I'm gone. Originally I was gonna go to Wellington, and I applied to Otago because I was like, Wellington is an 8-hour drive from Auckland. And then anyway, I get a phone call from someone at the uni telling me I haven't accepted my offer yet. I had no idea. I completely forgot I applied to Otago. Went through it, did everything, and then I was like, when does uni start? Looked it up, I was like, oh my god, it starts in 2 weeks. I flew from Auckland to Dunedin. I didn't have anywhere to stay. I didn't have a hall. I didn't have anything. I just showed up there. I had applied to practical music, had to audition. I applied to health sci. Didn't do science all throughout high school.
What the fuck?
Came down here, was in the Māori Centre. I forgot who it was. They were like, you've got to go to foundation. You're going to sit at house sci and you're going to fail it because you haven't done any of this.
That sounds like some Auntie Pearl wisdom.
And I was like, I remember walking out of there, don't know me. Don't know me. I could do this. Went and sat in one of the pre-lectures for house sci, and I was like, oh no. Immediately went to music and applied for performance there. And I got in. I sang half a song for the guy in the music thing, and he was like, yep, all good. We're going to put you in the course. And I was like, half the song? Must be pretty good. Got to class. I think I was like the worst singer in there, and I was like, oh my god. Because he made us all perform in front of the class. First one, and I'm like, half the song, I'm all good. Start hearing these people out, I'm like, oh hell. Oh hell, I'm no good here. And then I was cracking up because I sung My Girl. And there was one other brother in the class, and he started singing with me because he knew I wasn't confident in it. I should have been like, oh my god, I've signed up. This is a full year course. Didn't know anything about uni. Assumed, bro, I'm in that the whole year. Like, because a lot of the music papers that year were all full year courses, so I just assumed I'm done. I'm cooked. I'm not gonna do well at uni. I think I pretty much sacked it off the whole year. Went to Unipol every day,
Oh, hell.
and then I remember I wasn't sure what I was gonna do the next year, and I was speaking to Gary. Gary was like, "Come back to Dunedin," and I was like, ain't nothing happening in Auckland. I'm allergic to the air here now. So came back, went to Cumbie. That's how I met Tu. And just the whole cycle of my uni time is.
So what did you leave with? What was your major?
I haven't finished. I haven't graduated. The last thing I was doing was it was like Māori studies. It was tourism.
Is that how you met Jerry? Was in tourism? He was doing tourist papers.
Nah, so I'm how did I meet Jerry? Oh, Unipol.
Ah, it makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
at Unipol, and then it just happened to be out. Like after I met him at Unipol, I was like, this brother is around everywhere I am.
Bro, he's everywhere. Gee, I swear he'd be the type of guy to be at a Diddy party, just randomly. Just randomly.
Thanks. Hearing people talk about Jerry and like me thinking it's somebody else. And then I see Jerry with the van, I'm like, it's you they're talking about.
I hate going places with Jerry because we're stopping every 3 minutes for a call. I'm like, gee, he'll catch up. Just keep going. He knows where we're going. He'll catch up.
So, do you remember Selwyn? Selvin?
Yeah.
Him. He was the same as Jerry, bro. You walk with him anywhere. Oh, hell, we're stopping 5-10 minutes to get anywhere because he just happens to know everyone. So I remember being real over it. And then I met Jerry and we were walking together somewhere once and he stopped and I was like, nah. Nah, I don't know if he knows where I'm going, but I'm out. I'm not waiting.
I was the same too. He knows everyone. We always stop him. It's mainly girls with Awa though. We'll always stop and I'm like, fuck, can't. Hurry up. I don't care about a 21st. Let's go. Fuck yeah.
I've never seen anyone bully that man more than two.
What?
Man, leave my boy alone.
Oh, me.
Leave my boy alone.
Anytime there was a basketball
I just
around,
speak the truth.
you 0 of 10 hour or you 8 of 10. And then he'd miss, I know what it is.
Gee, that's sad.
One miss, it can be basically down and then rim out. Yep, I knew which one.
Hey, but he plays all heart though. He's good on the defensive end.
Is he?
Must admit.
No.
Nah, there was one
he's
year where
good.
we started out 4-0 and he was good. He bought in. And I think everyone kind of felt themselves a bit much. And then we just stopped playing defense and I was like, oh, I hate all of you. I hate all of you right now.
Old Awa.
But yeah, what about you, Ra? What's your side quest?
Man, in all honesty, I was doing my masters. I come home for a holiday while my cousin was back from Perth. I hadn't seen him in like 2, 3, 4 years. I come home. My uncle just happens to bump into me and goes, "Oh, Rawiri, how long are you home for?" I'm like, "Oh, I don't know." It's like I had no time limit on when I had to go back because I was in my masters year, right? I got no classes. He's like, "Oh, do you want a mahi?" And 2 years later, here we are. So I never finished my masters, and I just started getting money. And when you get money, like coming out of like student loan money, when you get real money, you're like, "Oh, I can get used to this." And then all of a sudden, because you've gone through university, you have no actual idea of how fucking money works. You're used to getting your like, I can't even remember how much it was, but it was fuck all. And then you pay your rent with fuck all. You buy a little bit of food with fuck all, and then you got a little bit for pint night, a little bit for Saturday beers. Maybe. That's if you're lucky. You might have to save up to it. If Afterpay did alcohol when we were at, but I would be in jail. I'll be bankrupt in jail. That would have been lethal. I do it now with McDonald's. I'm like, it's not my pay week. Afterpay. So I just know that for a fact that would be where it's at. So yeah, mine, although a little more boring than you guys, but I think that was one of my biggest side quests was detouring from my masters, coming home, getting a mahi, and then from there we decided to try and do 99 Dreams as a clothing brand and podcast. The podcast was hard because I ran out of guests, and so I took that summer to try and repivot and think what would work as a more consistent product that won't be too hard to try and do. Like when you got a guest in, cool, you can talk about them, but your guest list is as far as your friend lists go, and even then some of them don't want to jump on as a guest. So it gets even shorter, and once you've expired, then you're like, oh well, guess I'm doing some solo ones, and again, your solo ones only get you so far. So then over that summer, rethought, reached out to Tu and Benja. He wasn't keen. Tu was 50-50. Tu goes, who else are you getting? Who's the third? I was like, hey man, I tried Benja. Benja's not keen. I hit up Vince. Vince is like, yo, I'm keen. And then, nah, he actually wasn't. I didn't even know how many months we got through that intro. And sometimes with Brother Vincent, he'd only been on once.
And then, that messed me up. That messed me up when you guys said Vince, man. just that man and being on time.
No, he can be.
I gamed with him a little too often to believe it.
And then we replaced him with another Tigers fan.
Yeah. Yeah. I noticed you guys didn't want to reply to my comment.
I laughed it though. I was like, oh, it's been a whole day. It's been a whole day. I can't reply now.
No. You guys could.
We were hiding. That was on purpose.
It's a public post.
Yeah, it's a public post. Anyone can see it.
Tag me. You guys are 5 weeks late to that bandwagon.
We're like, he ain't living this down. Everyone in the comments knew who we talking about too. Trying to get a random thumb from a random stranger. Hey man. Speaking of disappointing seasons, let's talk about how disappointing this Kailin Ponga decision is by the NRL. They're looking to, so a little bit of context for those who have not seen it. If you've been living under a rock, aka Patrick Star, then you wouldn't know what's going on. But essentially, Kailin Ponga wants to resign from playing for Australia this year. I mean, there's nothing in it. There's 3 games maximum that they're going to play. He wants to get right. He feels as though he owes the Newcastle Knights a solid season. And, at the start of this year, he pulled out of playing for the Māori All-Stars because he wanted to get his body right for the NRL season. For the Knights, he wanted to do the best he could for the Knights. That's been known throughout this season, right? Everyone's known he's wanted to put in a performance with the Knights and unfortunately got injured again. So this off-season, he wants to get his body right, his mind right, and he wants to perform for the Knights because as per Tom Trbojevic, you can't pay the club back or take a salary cap hit because you've been injured for most of the time, as per the NRL. And so I'm assuming Kailin Ponga's seen that and was like, well, then I need to get my body right. The fans deserve to have me out there playing. He is one of the biggest superstars in the game. That's been said. And so the NRL are thinking if he's going to pull out, if there's no, proper reason as to why he's pulling out of this comp, if his body's not actually wrecked, then they're going to fine him and he will be suspended for a majority of next year, it seems, which is very unfortunate. And I think the NRL is overstepping their boundary too much. I'll quickly give out a couple of points that I think it's bullshit. Is one, when can an employer ever tell you that you're not sick enough to compete like you have to compete because you're not actually sick. Even if it's mental or physical, an employer can't overstep those boundaries. I don't know what Australia employment law is, but there could potentially be a lawsuit up for grabs if Kalyn decides to pursue that too. If you force him to play when he's not wanting to play, he's definitely not going to play his best. And if you force him to play and then he's just stuck being the 14th man, 18th man, then he's going to build up a lot of resentment for playing for that team. And thirdly, why can't players have an off season to build their bodies back up to put on the best show they can for the NRL next year? What has the NRL got so much control over international footy? And that sort of needs to be separate, similar to how the New Zealand rugby comp is. You got Super Rugby, NPC, that's New Zealand base, Australia base, and then the All Blacks, that's international. That's controlled by the IRB. So that's a whole different kettle of fish. That's what you kind of got to start having here. Otherwise, you're going to see shit like this happening, where businesses start overstepping their boundaries because their product is potentially going to take a hit because their beloved Australian team isn't as stacked as it could be. You don't see other players sort of getting a tap on the shoulder saying, hey, mate, make yourself available because we need you. It's just the poor little Māori boy, that they want to pick on. So I'll hand it over to you, fellas. You guys give out your thoughts and feelings on the situation, and then I have a couple of parts that I'll shoot out to you.
Yeah, I might keep my one pretty brief because my thoughts are kind of, I don't know where they are, to be honest, with the whole Kailin Ponga thing. I think one of the things that they annoyed at is how he did it. I think that's what a lot of them are mad at, the fact that he just said it to the media. You know, there's kind of ways you go about business, right? And I think a lot of them didn't like how he did that. They're saying the professional thing would have been to call Mal, let him know that, hey, this is what I'm thinking. You know, so if you got me in your team, or if I'm on edge, maybe just to make it easier for you, you know, don't pick me, or just to go to the NRL, you know, let them know, oh, hey, look, it's kind of not my focus. I want to put my focus somewhere elsewhere. So is this okay? But the fact that he just came out and said it, and then Mal found out when everyone else found out, you know, just left a bad taste in his mouth. And if there are repercussions for it, man, it's a bit rough. You kind of touched on it, Woody, like if they do go down the slope, like what could it mean for other players and how they play? But yeah, I don't know, tough one. This could be a big decision. It might change rugby league. Will it be for the better? We don't know. I guess time will tell. But yeah, that's about all I got, really, man. Don't really have any thoughts. I guess players should be free to choose what they want to do, I guess. But yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, it's a lot of my thinking's based like there's quite similar in the and like what you touched on, Ra, where it's like, why does the NRL have so much say in the international footy? More so, why is it in his NRL contract that if he's healthy, he has to be available for rep selection? There's a big the punishment side of it. It doesn't surprise me because there were talks of it with Latrell when he was potentially going to sit out. So one of the Origin games where they said the rule there was that if you withdraw yourself from representative football, they can suspend you for that weekend's game. With this being in the off-season, there's no NRL, so that takes a suspension into next year. I don't really understand why any of this is an option for the NRL. Like, this isn't. It's as you said, it's a 3-game series, but it's a 3-game window, and for Kalyn and his club, who basically he spent a lot of time injured, every year they kind of have to go on that run to make the top 8. So like, I understand his thought where, he wants to get his body right. He wants to be available for the Knights pre-season to kind of get them in their best, I guess, their probably their best possible situation going into next year, because they need some stability in the halves. They need to figure out who their nine is, if it's going to be Brayley or Crossland. They need to do a lot of things around there, and as we've seen over the last 2 years, it all happens around Kalyn. So him being there is actually more important than all these other teams. There are a lot of things that there are a lot of journos / ex-players who've said Mel in the last 7-8 years has done a lot to really put pride back into that Aussie jersey. So now I'm kind of confused why they're kicking up a fuss about it, he doesn't want to play. Hey man, if there's all that pride and all that in their jersey, then cool. You don't pick him. It's not like they don't have other options there as well. They do still have Teddy, who's been unbelievable this season. I would think, the only real reason they might kick up a stink about it is because they think he might be the fullback for the next World Cup, which I'm a big Dunn Edwards fan, so if he's healthy, I don't understand how Kalyn would get a shot into that unless he is injured. So that's. I know I'm more concerned about the NRL potentially trying to suspend him and fine him for him deciding he doesn't want to play international footy, especially if there's only 3 games. If this was
if it was a World Cup or if it was an Anzac Test match, okay, get your knickers in a twist. But it's a dead rubber. It's a one-off tournament that's being held at the end of the year just to make more NRL money.
It's I don't understand why it's anywhere within his NRL contract.
No, I think it's in all their contracts, isn't it?
Yeah. It's in every player's contract, but I don't understand why that's a thing. That's your NRL contract. That shouldn't affect your international eligibility or have a requirement on you to play if selected or make yourself available. Because one of the things I was listening to is that it used to be the team's doctor had to deem you unfit to play. The international team's doctor had to deem you unfit to play. If you weren't deemed that by the international team's doctor, then you were eligible to be selected and you had to play. So it's a messy slope. I was it's a slippery slope, and I don't get why the NRL can have any say or not, in the international game, apart from the fact that they run it, they fund it, they do all that.
Yeah, they're definitely overstepping their reach, I'd say, in terms of how much they're forcing players to do. Especially, you got a season that's now 27 games long, plus off season, right? And once they add in more teams, you can only assume they have to put in more rounds to accommodate. Fortunate for him, he wasn't a part of the Las Vegas, so there wasn't extra travel involved. But he's played 16 games this season, meaning he missed 11 due to injury. Last year, he missed 7. The year before, he only played 14 games, which means he missed, 13? And the year before that, he's on 15 games played, which means he missed 12. And then the year before that, he's played 19. So, as a Knights fan, you should be okay with him wanting to take breaks, wanting to set goals for himself to play, at least 20 games. 20 games is the most he's played in his career. He hasn't played more than 21 games in a season. 2 for the Cowboys in 2016, 7 for the Cowboys 2017. His first 2 years with the Knights, he got through 20 games a season. And then, last year he got through 20 games in a season. But I don't know if that's including post-season games. And he hasn't even played for Australia. He played Australian Nines. He's played for Queensland. He hasn't been eligible to play for Australia, or he hasn't been selected to play for Australia. So, why make himself available, potentially get concussed, misses, or, tears an ACL, misses most of next season, And then everyone's going, well, why can't he perform? And then you expect him to miss, what do we say, 12 odd games, and then all of a sudden he has to show up in the finals and take them all the way to the grand final after being injured for most of the season. There's players that can, and then there's other players that need a bit more help. And where the Knights are at, they definitely need Kalyn for as long as they can get him. How old is he? Is another
27?
question. 26. 26 years old. So, he's reaching his athletic prime. But in terms of a fullback, he's on his back nine. Fullbacks don't have a long career at the one unless you're Billy Slater, who's a freak and has just been able to adapt. But in terms of Kalyn's play style, it'll kind of be like Sean Johnson. You have to really evolve and find a new way to play the game, because the acceleration, the agility that Kalyn plays with, it doesn't stay with you for very long. So here's some questions I was going to ask is, yeah, he could have gone to coach first and gone that way. But the media always have ways of turning the stories on you, no matter what you do. Whether he went the route of going to the coach or the route he went, there's no difference. The media will spin it however they want to spin it. They want to get a story out of it. How much of this issue do you think is NRL issue? How much of this issue do you think is money issue? How much of this is media issue?
Jeez. Money issue. I don't think that really plays a part.
Why do you say money issue? Because it's like Kailin Ponga will sell a few more tickets.
Yeah, I knew that's sort of like the perspective you were coming from with the money. I don't think they'll play a part because it's the Aussie team, so they're just stacked anyway. At international level, like say with the Kiwi team, we're lucky with the Kiwis that normally if they're available, they'll play. So that jersey's going to sell anyway, or you would think it would. NRL, I'd say that plays a part of heavy part. I mean, they've got so much control over it. They pretty much run rugby league this side of the world, and pretty sure they have their hands in Super League as well. So they pretty much run the sport of rugby league. And then what was the last one?
Media,
yeah. I mean, media are going to do media things, right? Get a story. So, I mean, they're good at making it look the way that they want it to look or need it to look. So no doubt they'll play a part as well. I mean, I guess we wouldn't be talking about it, right, if it didn't get into the media, or we didn't announce it to the media, and then it get blown up to the proportion that it did. I guess media doing their part in that. But yeah. What about you, Sam?
Yeah, I'm the same. I don't think it's a money issue. It's definitely a media issue because it's Kalyn. He's one of the best players in the league. He's one of the most recognizable faces in the league. So when he does something like this, it's always going to get talked about. In terms of NRL, part of me does wonder if it's kind of the Latrell thing kind of got swept away because he got injured, or because he definitely wasn't fit enough to come back and play state of origin straight away. So part of me does wonder if it's kind of they want to put a line in the sand and say, basically, hey, if you're going to sit out of rep, or this is the punishment that you're going to have to face, and they don't want it to be sort of like a recurring theme around rep footy in terms of, oh, I'm going to sit out this one, which I think that's probably more the issue that they're concerned about, like as if it becomes like a regular thing. Because I I don't really remember this being an issue with Jamie Lyon. Jamie Lyon said, I'm not playing New South, I'm not playing Aussie. It never really got talked about again. Well, at least not that I remember from it, so it's kind of... Like, I don't really understand it. It's kind of the issue. I don't understand why this is such a big deal. Or part of me does wonder, is it because a lot of the top players this year are going to be out with injury? Like, they're going to be missing because they all need surgery. Like, Cleary's getting surgery. Munster's getting surgery. Dylan Edwards is banged up, so he's not going to be available. Turbo's not going to be available. Like, there are a lot of players for Aussie who aren't going to be available. So I kind of wonder if that's also why they are somewhat choosing to almost take a stand on this. Because if all those players are injured, right, this is probably not a non-talking point, because he'd be around making the squad, but it wouldn't be as big a deal.
I just think that the difference between Kailin Ponga and Jamie Lyon, I think, lies in the pronunciation of the last name, my brother, and the whakapapa of where that last name comes from. Seldom do you see, and it's I guess it's got to be said, seldom do you see some of the Baka athletes getting pulled up and scrutinised as much as some of our Parodi brothers, you know what I mean? You look at the likes of Anato Carr, they get scrutinised a lot more for having a bit of party, but you get other guys that have a little more superstar status that kind of get swept under the rug. I mean, remember the Cleary incident, the COVID with the Wahine? That was a thing, but that got swept under the rug pretty quickly. He had the Wahine at his crib during COVID.
Oh, the TikTok thing.
Yeah. That gets swept under pretty quickly. Who else has had sort of those scandals? Andrew Johns. He's not an innocent man. His shit gets swept under the rug pretty quickly.
I think with that though, that's a times. Like, that was that long ago. Like, it wasn't. Like, League now is covered. What was it 365? Like, it's covered every day. It's a full-time thing. So it's kind of like back then. Like, like, basically once League happened, it happened. You didn't really hear anything again until the next season. But now it's talked about so much. Like, it's.
But with this, they're taking bread off the brothers' table. They're going to suspend him and fine him. They're taking bread off the brothers' table for wanting to provide the Newcastle Knights fans with a season where he is able to compete for at least 20 games. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know, because I still remember a lot of the Munster stuff. Munster, Curtis Scott, like, all those guys had serious things. Granted, now what they did, their shit was bad. Theirs was like criminal.
Yeah, and the bro just doesn't want to play.
Yeah, the bro just doesn't want to play.
That's what I mean.
Aussie
like, all of
this
shit they do get swept under the rug, or it gets moved on pretty quickly. But their shit that they're doing is of illegal activities, The bro just doesn't want to play. He wants to get healthy and play a full season next year. Like, how can you sit there and be righteous about saying you need to represent your country? You're out here playing rep footy for Queensland. You need to now be eligible for the green and gold. I'm going to take away money. I'm going to fine you. You can't play footy for, like, however long they decide. All because he just doesn't want to play. And isn't that a whole thing? If you don't want to play for your country, cool. Move on. Pick someone else. And that just hinders your shot in the long run.
I've heard the argument over the last day. The whole like you represent Queensland, you should represent your country, and I have a good laugh at it too because when they pick, granted, Murray Talangi is a bad example because he does play for Aussie.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. Like the argument is kind of like out the window now with those guys because it's just kind of accepted that they're going to go back and play for Samoa. They're going to play for Tonga. They're going to play for Fiji. They're going to play for all those countries because Kalyn's only two options are tier 1 nations. He can't play. I can't play Queensland and then come back and play for the Kiwis. He has to play for Aussie or not play at all. So it's I struggle with it because like at the end of the day, it should be his option. If he doesn't want to play, he doesn't want to play.
Big facts, and that's what it should be, right? It should be like, yes, you should have the what's the word? You should have to make yourself available. However, if you're not up for it, if you're not eligible yourself to play, like mentally or physically, those are two applicable parts in your career. If you're not mentally there, you ain't going to perform well. And if you're not physically there, 100% you're going to want out of that team. So it's a very slippery slope, not just for Australia, but the NRL as a whole, because this will set a precedent. And whatever they do, they have to continue to do year in and year out. They're going to have to require medical certificates from all athletes who are choosing off-season surgery. So what's the difference between me opting for off-season surgery and him just opting to not play? A whole water break is a whole water break, whether you're getting surgery or whether you got to get your mentals right. Who cares if it happens to be, a 3-week vacation in Italy? Who cares if they're going to America, watching some American football and some basketball? If that's what it takes to get their mindset cleared of this season and get them prepared for next season, that's what, yeah, sure, it's a part of it. But everyone's different in how they deal with their mentals, man. And they wonder why people are fucking off to rugby union and vice versa. It's how the company treats them. But the Players Association is pretty loaded at the moment, so this won't kind of go down quietly. So definitely watch this space, ladies and gentlemen. It is going to be interesting, and like we said, this will definitely set the precedent moving forward. And then does that in turn force any Kiwis players to then have to show up? If fucking, I don't know who's available, Jerome Hughes, at the end of this says, you know what, I just can't be bothered. I want to break, I want to re-up. If Storm in grand final, when he wants to re-up next year, get ready, we don't say shit. We just go, oh, sweet as, we'll just chuck someone else at 7. Like, we won't kick up as much of a fuss as Australia do. Like, yeah, some people got up in arms about Roger, but it was always in Roger's plan to go back to Samoa or to go play for Samoa to represent his heritage. He did the best he could in the black jersey. Yeah. And he'll always be, fuck, he probably is the best one in our jersey that we've ever had so far. So, nah, man. So, yeah. I don't think we have as much of an argument as Australians do when it comes to players picking and choosing when they want to play.
I suppose the difference is we don't, like as you said, like we don't really have people choose to sit out. But the other thing is when you hear a lot of the boys talk about the Kiwis jersey, like that means things to them. There's a of the the Australian kind, like hearty Australian, full Australian, those kind, like, yeah, that jersey kind of means something to them. Like you can tell when they talk about it. But then there are a few others who get picked and doesn't really seem like it means a whole lot. Or they just don't kind of talk about it in that kind of way where like you feel like that jersey means a lot to them. So I suppose it would be a lot more surprising if like someone for the Kiwis did it. And if they were like, oh, it's tough because Kalyn's not even established in their jersey.
Nah. Which is why it's a thing. But
yeah. he's never worn it. He's never worn the jersey.
It's something we'll keep an eye on, and we'll keep you guys informed as we find out more about it. But let's head along to this weekend's games before we get down another rabbit hole. So, 9:50 p.m., almost midnight. Melbourne Storm hosting the Sydney. Is it daylight savings yet? Because doesn't it get worse once we get daylight savings?
No, it's lighter for longer, isn't it?
Yeah, but I don't think Australia changed their clocks.
Nah, their daylight savings different to ours, I think.
Yeah, they're different. Or there's like one state that doesn't actually support daylight. They don't believe in daylight savings.
Yeah, the Americans reacted to a map of it where it showed like the daylight savings times, and there was I think it's the middle state just says, "Nah, we're cool."
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Queensland do as well. They don't do daylight savings. Is either Queensland or Sydney don't. It's one of those two major states.
One of them changes for like half an hour. I'm pretty sure it was the thing like their daylight savings is half an hour.
Finals, week 3, semi-finals, 9:50 p.m. Melbourne Storm taking on the Sydney Roosters at AAMI Park in Melbourne. Look, so you give us a Storm rundown, Sam, you give us the Roosters rundown.
Yep, sure. I can kick us off. Looking at the Storm team, this is a big game, right? Although really, I think everyone kind of has their ideas of who's going to win. I would say the Storm are heavy favourites going into this one, rightfully so with the season that they've had. In terms of their 17 for game day, it is looking unchanged from the team that absolutely smoked the Sharks. So you have Pep at 1. Warbrick and Coates are your wingers with Howard Femini holding down the centre spots. You got the halves pairing of Munster and Hughes. The forward pack, we've got Grant at 9. Nelson and Josh King are the props. Sean Bloor, Katoa are the second rowers. Trent Loiero is at 13. Tyron Wishart, the game changer, at 14. You then have Welch, Tui Kamikamitha, and Alec McDonald at 17. Whaolongo is named at 22. So there is a chance he could be a late inclusion. Who he'll come in for, though? That'd be a tough one. And of course, you have Craig Bellamy as coach. I mean, Storm, where did they fall out last year? Can't actually remember. Didn't they have a down year last year? Like they got knocked out quite early. So they haven't been to a final, I don't think, since they beat Panthers all the way back in, 2019 was it? So they're one game away. They're the hot favourites, minor premiers. They've been dominant for most of the season. You would expect them to get there, and they have a lot to play for. I think they got a few demons to overcome, and this is kind of the time that they need to put their step forward, put their best foot forward, and finally get to a big dance to have a chance at winning that trophy, to run the gauntlet. Where I think they have the advantage over the Roosters, I guess they're more of a known commodity. You kind of know what you're going to get out of the Storm, and their style of play with Craig Bellamy. They don't make many mistakes. You have Hughes, who's in career best form, leading. Grant around a ruck, who's just a wizard in that area. You got Pep and his X Factor at fullback. Solid wingers, Warbrick and Coates, both bombing targets, so they could attack both ways. But this might be the only time where... Who's taller? Coates is taller than... Would he be the tallest winger out of, the 4? Because, they've got Coates and Warburg, but you're going against Twin Towers here in Tupou and Dominic Young. I'm actually not sure who's the taller one.
Warbrick's 193 centimeters. Coates is 194 centimeters. Young is 200 centimeters. And 3-Polt is 196.
Oh, so they're actually shorter in general. But again, both aerial specialists, right? Warburg coming from the AFL background. One thing that I think the Roosters might have to exploit is the inexperience of Jack Howarth. This is easily his biggest game of his career. But his Storm mentality is, right, next man up. He kind of finally got a shot after being waiting for a while, and he never let that spot go. No doubt Craig Bellamy will have his team ready, who have a game plan in place, and he seems to have the number on Trent Robinson. And I can't actually remember the last time the Roosters beat the Storm, although I think they might have beaten them either, if not this year, last year. So they do have that advantage, I guess, with Bellamy, how their seasons be going, a known commodity. In the forwards, you got the power of Asafa Solomona, Katoa and Bloor have been killing it. The X factor really for the Storm team is Wishart. It's just going to be when he comes on and who he comes on for. I'm assuming he'll come on in that potentially the ball playing forward position, that number 13. They're going to need a punch from their bench and Wishart to make a difference. But I do expect them to have a chance just because I feel as though they'll stick to the game plan and I can't see them making many mistakes. And again, you give a team like the Storm opportunities, they will make you pay. That's not to say that the Roosters can't do it, but if I'm speaking from a Storm perspective, Dominic Young, he is prone to make mistakes. And he has really good games and really bad games. So that's someone that I'd be attacking from a Storm perspective. Also, Sando Smith. You know, this is only, less than 10 games? And maybe his 5th game this year? So he's someone that I'll be going at. I'd make sure I'd be taking, sending big bodies down his way, making him attack. And the same with Kerry. You have to get him to play defense, running. Who would be running his way? I think it might be Katoa. So making sure you give him early ball just so he goes at Luke Keary. And again, taking Luke Keary, Sando Smith, and Dominic Young. Those are the ones that I'll be going at in the back row because Teddy's all class. Tupou's been doing it for a lifetime. Suali and Manu. Manu's just a superstar. He's been on that stage. Suali's like leaving, I guess, but he's still been there, done that. So really attacking that Dominic Young and Sando Smith and their inexperience. Jade Warrior-Hargreaves, you have to match their intensity. Connor Watson, he's solid. But yeah, this forward pack really needs to get up and ideally win that battle, which might be a little bit hard. If you just go name for name, you might give it to the Roosters. But you just never know what's going to happen. Nelson can change the game. I'm wondering if they will switch it and have him off the bench to match Linu. So bringing on Welch instead. That could be a play, just so when Linu comes on, you can just bring Nelson on and match him there. But I'm backing the game plan of Craig Bellamy, the experience that the Storm have at key positions, and the fact that they've pretty much been the form team all year to finally get a shot at redemption in the final to get, yet another title. And maybe if they win it, I think Craig's back for next year, but you just never know. Maybe he just cause it, go out on top. That's what I've got for the Storm. Anyway, I'll hand it over to Sam to do the Roosters.
The Roosters, they kind of line up as per last week with Teddy at the back, Tupou and Young on the wings, Suali'i and Joey Manu in the centres, Kerry and Smith, they're back in the halves, Warrior-Hargreaves and Lindsay Collins a prop, Connor Watson at 9 with Crichton and Tupanua on the edges, Victor Radley in at lock, Spencer Linu, Nafahu White, Nat Butcher and Terrell May make up your 14 to 17. With, I'd say, Zach Docker-Clay is probably the 17th if he doesn't, the 18th man if he doesn't come in to replace probably either Nafahu White or Nat Butcher. The team, man, yeah, history doesn't look good. So I suppose the one thing they have got is that against Melbourne, come the finals, they are 2-2 since Trent Robinson's been there. The last time they got to this point here was 2019, and they won. They beat the Storm 14-6, and then they went on to win the grand final. So that's kind of your hope there if it's the Roosters. But granted, that 2019 team was
a different kettle of fish.
it was it was a healthy team, is what it was.
Yeah, and a young Teddy.
Yeah. Actually, bro, just looking at this team is unbelievable. But yeah, I think with this one, the Roosters they're gonna have to dominate the middle, which is kind of why I wonder if they actually wouldn't move now. It's not like Lenu coming off the bench is massive for them.
Ooh, yeah.
But if Welsh replaces him in the starting lineup, I could see a world in which the Roosters do get over the top and real early. And then I think the Roosters, they've got it. It's kind of been the thing with Melbourne all year. Your one hope to beating them is that you've got to stop Munster and Hughes from running. I don't know how you stop both of them in a game, but even when one of them gets to run and the other gets to basically organize the team, it's a deadly combo. What you pointed out about Dom Young is pretty spot on. The last time they played them, bro, Melbourne went to that edge. Now, granted, Joey Manu or Suoli, I can't remember who was centre partner, wasn't there. It was Tupanua who was the centre. But man, they torched Dom Young. They targeted him the whole time, so they're going to have to really kind of key in on Dom Young's side. And then the other issue is, I think it was last year, right? The Warwick try over Tupou to win the game. Munster, just me. All right. I'm pretty sure it was last year in the finals.
I just remember Broncos beating Melbourne in the first week. I don't think Melbourne got, no tries in the first week of the finals last year. And then the Warriors got 1 try on us as we beat both teams.
Yep. I couldn't tell you. I rewatched the Warwick Playhouse party yesterday. And so they talked about it there. But yeah, like that's how they won the game last year. So it's tough, right? Because on paper, like this Roosters team looks really good. Oh, not really good, but it looks like a strong team. It's just questionable about your 7. Your 7 and your 14 is like basically your utility spot on the bench is where they lack.
They're going with that heavy bench, eh?
Yeah. Like that's kind of what they're basing this on, right? Is that it's the middle and only the middle. And hey, if they can win that, then they probably have enough talent on the outside to get it done. But it's just how do they limit Munster, Hughes, and then cover Dom Young. Cover Dom Young. I rewatched the game that they played, and I think it's round 20. So it wasn't that long ago, and yeah, Grant Anderson was the winger, and they torched Dom Young. Now, as I said, granted, his centre partner wasn't there, so that's a pretty big out for them. I think Kerry's going to have to own this game. He's going to have to step up and actually play like he can be a 7. Sandon Smith has just got to do what he did last week. Keep it real simple, run the ball, and they've got to try and make Munster tackle. They've got to make one of these halves tackle and just try and tire them out. Because I think that's the only way you can really stop them from running. Is that if you fatigue them so much on the defensive end, that they kind of just want to get the ball and give it. They just want to give it to whoever's outside them and let them create. I don't know. The stats don't look good. I went and had a look at it. The stats are not good for this. What are your guys' thoughts on it? What have you got, Ra? You got anything for this?
Yeah, main thing I was going to ask you guys is for 2, how do you think you mitigate the impact of the forwards coming off the bench, especially in the late first and early second halves? And then, how do you make the impact of your substitutions late in the game count for Melbourne Storm? Because I think that's what it's going to come down to, is Melbourne mitigating the effects of that Roosters bomb squad, essentially, coming off the bench there.
It's limiting turnovers. You can't give them good ball. Can't make mistakes in your own half. We can get to a kick and just pin them, so they're going to have to come out the backfield. I mean, we already know Linu's going to make an impact when he comes on, but if he just has to do it from coming off his own line as opposed to at the 50-meter mark, limits quick play the balls. Now, if there's one team in the history of the NRL that is good at stopping teams getting a quick play the ball, it is without a doubt the Melbourne Storm, because I don't know how they do. Well, I know how they do it.
It's always their 9.
But it's I don't know how they continuously get away with it. Man, it is frustrating. Like when you're playing them and they continuously hold, but it's never called a penalty. They don't give up many sixes, 6 agains. They have the snack for holding you just long enough, to the edge, almost, and then they're also good at drawing penalties. Doing the old, was it salmon lying on the ground, trying to get the ref to say, I'm ready to play the ball. He's holding me. They're just the best at it, and if they can do that, slowly play the ball down, get in good kicks, and make them come back off their line, then it limits the impact that the forwards can have, and then solid defense, no mistakes, there's going to be mistakes, but just not costly ones. I think that's the best route to mitigating what the Rooster bench could do and the impact that their forward pack could have on the game. So that's the way I'd go about it. Well, that's what I'd be telling them anyway.
All right, nice. I like that in-depth breakdown. Now, for you, Sam, the Roosters' spine is at risk in this game. You look at the Storm spine, pretty solid all the way through. So, what do you think the Roosters have to do to sort of solidify that weakness and sort of get the ball to their strengths?
It's get over the top in the middle. They have to own that, and they can't let Melbourne get a hold of that at any point. Because if they get over the top, right, then it frees up the halves a bit more, because then they have more time. They're able to run, as opposed to if Melbourne get over the top at any point in the middle, then it makes the halves' job so much harder. And they haven't really got that massive boot that can kick them out of trouble. I wouldn't say Kerry's got a massive boot. Sandon doesn't have a massive boot. So their kicking options.
Kick?
As someone who saw him try to kick for the Tigers, no.
Yeah, I was about to say, I feel like he's one of the few fullbacks that don't actually kick as part of their repertoire. You see Reece Walsh has got a boot on him. KP's obviously got a boot on him. Can Pat boot it?
He can, but not.
Yeah, I don't think he needs to, because he's got Hughes and Munster there.
The interesting thing would be seeing if they go to Joey, or if they go to probably more Suoli. Suoli does have the rugby background and he kicks goals, so I'm assuming at some point he's got to have a big boot.
Yeah.
And if they desperately need it, I think they could look to go there. But if you've got to go to your centre to kick,
well, technically he's a fullback, isn't he?
Gonna centre. I don't know what he is, but he's a centre, he's a wing, he's a fullback.
He's about 7 minutes of game time's what he is.
Oh yeah. But yeah, it's that, right? It's basically just the middles have to dominate. They have to get over the top and make the game easier for the halves. And then with the halves, man, just play your role. Play your role. Your outside men are deadly. Get them the ball. get them the ball, and preferably early. Early, I don't need you being a Jake Clifford out here where you've got Nanai running holes and you just say, nah, I'm not passing you the ball. You could be under the post for 2. I'm keeping. I think that's kind of the biggest thing. It's just like simple. What is it? KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. That's what they need. That's what they need from their halves. I don't have a lot of faith in the halves. So
Fair enough. You don't have a lot of faith, neither does the TAB. The TAB has the Roosters at $3.80 and the Melbourne Storm, the favourites, at $1.28. That is your head-to-heads. The line bet is 10.5, and that's paying $1.90 either way. Winning margins, Melbourne Storm to win 1-12 is paying $3.13, plus is $2.10. Roosters 1-12 is $4.50, and the Roosters 13 plus is $9.75, and that means the TABC ain't no chance in hell the Roosters do it. But if they do, it's a healthy payout, ladies and gentlemen. What is going? Just pick your head to head. We'll do all the TAB bets at the end.
I'm actually going for the upset. I'm going Roosters. The thinking behind it is one, I genuinely think they can do it.
That
And
forward pack,
something about having an off week. Some teams kind of like it, some teams don't. I would assume the Storm would be good with it, but I think if they do it, it's be behind the forward pack, Teddy, and I'm looking for Manu to have a big game. Whoever's opposite Meanie, you have to go at him. Like, you got to go at the centres. Like, so give them early ball and just let the one-on-one Meanie's good, but he's little. You got big.
This is going to be a good challenge for Howarth, I reckon.
Yeah,
he's been a great centre this season, but I don't think he's had this challenge, like game on the line situation where he has to put his body on the line to save that tackle.
Yeah, I think the team that can win the battle in the forwards early, give their back some ball, I think that's going to take it. And I just have a feeling Roosters might do it.
Samuel Aurelius.
I kind of hate that you did that.
That he went Roosters?
Yeah. I wasn't going to believe it, but I was going to pick the Roosters. It's the Storm,
it's believable. I see it's believable.
It's the Storm, and it's purely because I think, one, the Storm don't make mistakes. They don't, so they're not going to help you beat them.
Nope.
The Roosters, hey man, here's 1, here's 2, here's 3, here's 4 penalties. And I checked it. They don't have Klein as the ref. Klein put that whistle away last week and said, I'm not calling anything. And it's Grant Atkinson who's their ref. I think he might call some things. So I think it's going to be... That's tough. Nah, I've got to go with the history because I went with the history last week when I took the Sharks. It's the Storm. The Storm are 18-8 against the Roosters since 18-8 since Robertson got there.
Damn.
Yeah.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. Well, I've gone Melbourne 13 plus. Also, just before we move on, I've seen any two of Jared Wadia-Hargreaves, Victor Radley, Nelson Asofa-Solomona, and Sean Bloor. It says to score a try. I thought to be sent off.
Yeah. You were reading that out. I was like, oh, this is to be sent off.
Yeah, bro. I thought that. But, moving along to what used to be Super Saturday, now it's sparingly Saturday. We get a game at, again, midnight, 9:50 p.m. at Accor Stadium in Sydney. The Panthers, who are the home team, host the Sharks, who are the away team, both from Sydney. It makes no sense. We'll give Sam the Panthers, and 2, you get the Sharks. Sam, run us up.
All right. Panthers coming off the break. They've got the best fullback in the game. Dylan Edwards at 1. He may be injured, but he's still pretty damn good. They've got Dylan Edwards at 1. They've got Taruva, Tigers legend. Oh, why did it do this? It opened up Dylan Edwards' page. So they've got Dylan Edwards at fullback. They've got future Tiger Taruva on the wing with Brian To'o. Their centres, Isaac Tungo and Paul Alamotti. Your halves, the pair that just won, Luai and Cleary. You've then got the Bash Bros up front, Moses Leota and James Fisher-Harris, with Mitch Kenny at 9. Luke Garner gets the start on the edge with Liam Martin and Isaiah Yeo. Off the bench, they've gone Brad Schneider at 14, Lindsay Smith 15, Liam Henry 16. Oh, Matty Eisenhuth, hey. Former Tiger, Matty Eisenhuth. At 17, on the extended bench, though, they do have Scott Sorensen. So I do wonder if his I think it's his hammy. I wonder if that's, good enough so that he can kind of come onto that bench. Because they don't really have an edge there like Lindsay Smith can. But if Garner or Martin get injured early, that's a long day for Lindsay Smith to play on the edge. It'll be interesting to see what they do coming off their last game. Right, like they were just so dominant. Like that plus a time off to give Cleary a bit more time, Dudley Edwards a bit more time to get healthy. This could be a really dangerous game for the Sharks. Anyway, what have you got, too?
Yes, this is definitely looking like a not exciting game. But I mean, Sharks, they showed us the blueprint in their first half against the Cowboys, right, in the way they played. In order for them to pull off this miraculous victory, they almost need to be pitch perfect. You need Trindle to be the guy and to control the game, and they just need to play more direct. I feel as though when they play direct through the middle, they have more opportunities. Limit your mistakes. Don't give Panthers a chance because you will be punished. And just when your opportunities come, you have to take them. They can score, but they can also give up tries as Shark team. So play through the middle, play direct. Don't try to go too sideways. The Panthers are too good for that. Trindle and Hines, their kicking game has to be almost pinpoint accurate. You can't do those sloppy kicks. It has to be land inside the 10. Pin them as best as you can. Back your defense. Try force Panthers into mistakes. Don't try anything dumb. Just keep it simple. Keep it plain. And like I said, take your opportunities when they can. Because Panthers don't really try anything fancy coming out of their half. They wait till they get you. They pretty much wait till you make a mistake. And once you make that mistake, they just pin you and keep you there. That's kind of the team they are. So, if you can kind of force them to be a little bit erratic coming out of their half, you might have a chance. But they keep it so simple, and the back three is so good at getting yardage that. And then you have Cleary who just kicks you to death. Eventually, they force team into submission to try something that they shouldn't do. Mistake comes, and then they punish you. But the Sharks, they've shown it that they can do it. They need a repeat of that 40 they put against the Cowboys. Just do that twice over, and just maybe, they can pull it off. In terms of their team, it's the same as last time. We have Kennedy at fullback, Katoa and Mulitalo are your wingers, Ramian and Edo at centre. You have Trindle, who's the 6, but I'm pretty sure he's pretty much the 7 now. He is the guy. And Hines has moved from that Batman, and he's now playing the Robin role, which I think suits him a little bit more. Takes some more responsibility off him. He can just play his game. But Trindle has to be the guy if they are to even have a shot in this game. Forward pack, you have Blake Brayley at the 9. Rudolph and Kafusi is starting at prop. That is of the Oregon kind. The second row is Britton Nakota and Tay Wilton. And your lock is Cameron McInnes. To the bench, you got Talakai. He's kind of the X factor. He can make things happen. You did have Jack William, Royce Hunt, and the team is rounded out with Thomas Hazelton. And it looks like Daniel Eckertson is your 18th man. Whether he comes in or not, potentially. If he did, I'll assume it's for Jack Williams, because I can't see it being Talakai, Hunt, or Hazelton. But again, it's a tall task. Do I think they can do it? Not really. But the blueprint's there. They've done it before where they've absolutely dominated a team for 40 minutes. So they just honestly need a repeat of that. No mistakes. Play through your fours. Play direct. Don't go side to side too much. Force Panthers into a grind, because Panthers don't mind the grind. And if they're in that grind, that means they're not just smacking you with try after try. Wait for your opportunities to come, and if they come, you have to take it. But it's going to come down to Trindle and Hines and their kicking. If their kicking is off, they're going to get smoked. Like, if their ball's landing inside, like, the 20, by the time Dylan gets it, he's already at the 30. The second one's going to be 4, and then now you've got tackle 4 and 5 happening in your half, which gives Cleary a chance to pin you even more. Maybe get a repeat set. So that kick has to land at the 10, so that way tackle 4 and 5 for Panthers are pretty much on the half. So it's more of a defensive kick, not an attacking kick. So yeah, I think that's where the game's going to be, win and loss. And maybe they can pull it off, but I highly doubt it. But you just never know. Anything can happen on the day, but this game might truly be over in 10 minutes. If the Sharks make mistakes, that's just how good the Panthers are.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, you know that old saying, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And I think for the Sharks to win this, it's just going to have to be one set at a time and just go tackle through tackle, like Two said, just get through your progressions, get to the kick, set things up. You can't be trying to go scoring a try every play. That's not how this game's going to go. Panthers is just business as usual, man. When you got the head of the table, when you got the tribal chief, Nathan Cleary, on your side, ooh, acknowledge him. So here's a part-time that I have for you both. Look, for Samuel Aurelius Augustus III.
What?
Yeah, it gets wetter and wetter every week. Look, we know this Panthers side isn't 100%. We know most of them have been battling injuries and niggles all season long. What are you most afraid of for the Panthers if the Sharks decide to go headhunting? And I'm not saying they're going looking for penalties to smack you off the head, but like we all know that, if Sorensen comes in, he hasn't been healthy for the majority of the season. Liam Martin hasn't been healthy all season. Cleary's obviously just come back from major injury. Then we're looking at Dylan Edwards, who's a bit banged up. What are the Panthers looking to do here in their game plan to sort of accommodate some of these injuries and stop them from getting any worse before the season's over?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, man. Like, what do you got to do in order to protect some of these players from further aggravation to their injuries? Because grand finals next week, they got to get through this game healthy and unscathed. That's their main thing. Because everyone's saying Panthers should win this easily, right? That's if they're injury free.
What are they got to do? I think it's that it's tough, right? Because their typical game style is what Two said. They just grind. They grind, and they're the same as Melbourne. They're not going to make the mistake. They're going to grind you out, and eventually they're going to fatigue you. You're going to make the mistake, and that's when they're going to hit you. I think they kind of need to do what the Sharks did last week. Get out to a big early and get Cleary off. Get Cleary off. And if they can take Liam Martin off, even better. Like, it's kind of the thing where I wish they would take a Dane Laurie, but then I don't know how you take Dane and Schneider at the same time. Because I would love to get Dylan Edwards off as well. Like, if I don't have to have him do what he does, which is get up over 180, 200, maybe 250 meters, just running the ball back because they've got the boots on them, right? Like, they can just kind of save them and not get the hits necessary on them. But yeah, I know it's tough because they've got so many injury concerns and they've had them throughout the season that there's kind of too many concerns to really protect themselves against. But the main one is Cleary, right? Like, you want Cleary there for the final. You want Dylan Edwards there at the final because Dane Laurie prone to not catching the high ball. And if that's Hughes and Munster kicking the ball to him, Melbourne's going to really like their chances. If knock on wood, Dylan Edwards doesn't get injured, but yeah, like that's if he's out, then I don't really know how they can replace that spot and not have those level of concerns. And yeah, Cleary, like if they, I think there's a way they win if Cleary's injured, where he kind of does the Cooper Cronk thing. Meanwhile, if Dylan Edwards is injured, I don't know how they replace that. There's like, they say Taruva played fullback all the way coming through. I don't think Taruva's the option of fullback. Dane Laurie, I know for certain, is not the option of fullback. So it's kind of, they have to do their work early, and they have to basically just say, Dylan Edwards, you're not taking a hit up if you don't absolutely have to. You know, Cleary, hey man, go wrap up that shoulder, sit on the bench and let Schneider get some game time. But yeah, I don't know. If they had one or two injury concerns, yeah, that would be the thing. Like, it would be a fairly easy question to answer. But because they've got so many, they just don't, they just don't really have the options or availability to, unless it's like that where, say, Laurie is your 18th man, Liam Martin gets taken higher, gets put on report, they get sent to the bin, and the 18th man can be activated. That's probably the only way you actually have like the option to do that. But then Liam Martin's gone for the next week, so
Yeah, and you don't want to lose that.
Nah.
Why do you offer him as a sacrifice? You want to get rid of Luke?
Luke is a Tigers legend, thank you very much.
Luke has a mustache and a bald head. Luke can go. He's a sacrificial lamb.
No.
How many Origin games Luke got? But anyway, moving on. Sharks. Look, man, you said it. You got the formula. You know how to win. How do the Sharks find that belief that they can overcome this Penrith Panthers side? Because that's what it's going to be. They're going to need belief, and then when they get that belief, they're going to need momentum.
Their mindset around the game has to be, I think, how they get into the game for the potential to upset. I think if they go on like believing they can foot it with Panthers, there might be fool's gold, and let's be real, they probably know they're going to be outclassed. So my one would be, you have a free shot. You got carefree rugby. Everyone's expecting you to lose. No one's picking you to win. I think even the hearty Sharks fan don't think they're going to win. So you have a free shot to just give it your all. So they kind of, they got no pressure on them, right? All the pressure's on Penrith. So the Sharks should just, I don't think they should play carefree, but they can kind of go into it with the ease of, like, all the pressure's on them. No one's expecting us to do anything. Maybe just going with a lighter load, as opposed to, everyone's going to be watching me if I muck up. Then, I'm going to have to hear about it in the media because no one's picking you to win anyway. So just go in there, stick to a simple game plan, try not to make mistakes. Might be the best way to get into it. So just thinking of, we get a free game, why not see what happens, and if we have a chance with 10 minutes left to go, then we have a chance, but no one's picking us anyway. So just kind of have that sort of mentality. It's pretty much the way I would try frame it through the week, as opposed to thinking, just go into an underdog, like carefree, nothing to lose, all the pressure's on them. They have to still beat us. We're not going to roll over. Just play our style, and we'll let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah, they definitely don't want to repeat that performance they had against Melbourne in week 1 of the finals. That happens again, it's going to be light work for the Panthers. And the TAB thinks that it will be light work for the Panthers. It's $1.25 for the Panthers, $4 for Cronulla Sutherland Sharks. The line is 11.5, and it's paying $1.85 for Panthers, $1.96 for the Storm. Winning margins 1-12, $2.90 for the Panthers. 13 plus is $2 for the Panthers. For the Sharks, 1-12 is $4.75, and 13 plus for the Sharks is $12. Ladies and gentlemen, boys, what are you thinking head to head?
I'm not picking anyone to upset this one. I think Penrith are just too good, too many weapons, and they can beat you in a different way. And the Sharks have a blueprint to do it, but everything has to go their way. But
So
never say never. But I'm going with Penrith comfortably.
1 to 12 or 13 plus?
More than likely 13 plus.
See, I always think 13 plus, man, but it's always the 8 to 10 range that most teams have been winning in these finals. So, hey, 1 to 12, ladies and gentlemen. And to you, Brother Samuel, Aurelius, Augustus, Nigel the Third.
Yeah, it's the Panthers. It's just by a matter of how much.
Yeah, what do you got, roughly? You reckon a 13?
Nah,
It's hard, eh?
It's tough. So
Between 8 and 14 points, you reckon?
I'll give you, because it's part of my big day, big play payday.
Big day out.
I've taken the Panthers minus 8.5. Oh, sorry, minus 7.5. So to win 8 plus.
Oh yeah, see,
because I see a world in which the Sharks come and serve up a Melbourne-esque performance, and they get absolutely smoked. But then I also see it where Penrith just grind. Penrith just grind. And it's a game where we think 13 plus easy.
Yeah.
And they just don't put the points on it. Because the other thing is the Sharks goal line D has been decent at times. But it's just kind of like when you get that bulk of possession there, that's when they really struggle. So yes, I've gone minus 7.5 for Panthers.
Oh, nice.
I think that pays $1.58, by the way, but
so not a big payout for that one. I've gone Panthers 1 to 12 actually. I think it might be more of a grind rather than an outright Jonah Lomu run away with it. So speaking of the TAB, it's time to head over to Big Plays and Paydays. Today brought to you by Johnson & Johnson. Nothing gets you all up for a Diddy party like Johnson & Johnson, ladies and gentlemen. Has their stocks taken a hit since they all come out, or is it kind of gone up? Like, who needs $1,000, 1,000 bottles worth of baby oil? Who's cleaning it?
Since your non-ad read, I promise you, their stocks have taken a hit.
Yeah, I mean, we're not sponsored. We're still looking for a sponsor, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. If there is you sitting at home listening to this on your way to work, on your way home from work, at the dinner table while you're whooping your children's asses before they get to bed, if that sounds like you,
hey, not allowed anymore, man.
We're all for it, you know.
Not allowed anymore, man.
Nah, man. If Uncle with love on his knuckles did it, it's all good. Anyway, one question I do want to know about the Johnson & Johnson is who's cleaning that off the mattresses and all that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? Like,
The man's rich enough to get clean.
There are a number of cleaning services that I'm sure wouldn't mind a nice tip from Diddy.
Which one?
Hey
man, you can get Johnson & Johnson.
However you took it.
You can get Johnson & Johnson cotton tips. $8.95 at your local supermarket. Johnson & Johnson wear. What's their thing? What's their slogan? Johnson & Johnson, baby. They're committed to redefining healthcare, connecting the best of healthcare for every provider, for every patient, for everyone. Imagine all the amazing things those two simple words can do. No Diddy. All right, so my big play and my payday. $10 pays out $33,180.90, and this is how it looks. We've got Melbourne Storm 13 plus, Will Warbrick anytime, Ryan Papp anytime, Jerome Hughes anytime, Dom Young anytime, Satili Tupanua anytime, and Big Angus first try scorer. We got prolific points being scored on a Friday night. I just feel it in the air, like that monkey.
With the
He can
Cadbury
feel
ad.
it. I can feel it. That's my big play, and that's my payday. Brought to you by Johnson & Johnson. No Diddy.
Is your big payday big?
Relative to what I've done before in the past, no.
How big's your one?
Not big.
Not big enough to throw a Diddy party?
No.
Yeah,
Well, it depends. If you're Jamie Foxx, maybe.
I went for a Hail Mary. I went Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, mine is can happen.
Well then, yeah, we'll save your one. Then I'll go with mine.
Oh, okay.
So
I was gonna go the other way, but yeah.
Look, I never think about doing a Penrith Canella Sharks game because I just felt that was just too
So
I know, a little
low-hanging fruit.
one-sided. Yeah, so we have just gone with the Storm Sydney Roosters game. This one chucked $10 on, and it returns 17,000. So what, about half of your one, Rawiri? So what's a half a Diddy? Whatever party that is. That's what they're getting at.
That's a Kevin Hart, my boy.
The Kevin
That's
Hart.
a meat. That's a freak with meat.
So we've got Roosters to win 1-12. We're going with Coates, Young, Angus Crichton, and Nick Meaney anytime try scorers. And we've gone with Pep to get 150 run meters and Dom Young to get 125 plus run meters.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a big play, and it's a payday. Brought to you by Johnson & Johnson.
Yeah, my one. Yeah, it's decent. It's a decent payout, but it's not quite up to you guys.
Is it enough to shout us dinner and a drink in Tamaki next week?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
we could have a very, very nice night out.
If mine pays off, man, we can get our own separate room.
Yeah.
We don't have to have the free cough room.
I was so hoping you guys were gonna have to share a bed.
Nah, man, nah.
No, we were never sharing a bed.
That was never an option.
I figured, but I was praying.
It was 100%. We would have a rotation on that couch.
Yeah.
It is your turn for the couch, and when I wake up in the morning, I'm gonna have a nap on the bed.
Anyway, my big play in payday is I've gone with Xavier Coates, first, second, or third try scorer. My thinking behind that one was the last time they played, they tortured that edge. It was Grant Anderson who was playing instead. I like Coates a bit more. I like to have a bit more success on that edge rather than Grant Anderson. So I've gone Coates, first, second, or third try scorer. Nelson. I've gone Nelson Asafa Solomona to score. And then I've gone either Daniel Tupou or James Tedesco to score. And then in my other one, I've gone Penrith, minus 7.5. I've gone under. So total under 42.5 points. And then I've got Mulitalo anytime try scorer. That pairs up to give you you chuck $10 on it, that pays out $3,364. You know, that's a good weekend in Auckland.
That's a good time in Tamaki. You know what else is a good time? Baby oil with Johnson & Johnson.
I genuinely thought you were going to say something. God damn it.
Man, hey, look, I'm just showing the people that we can advertise their products on here, that we can segue, no matter the relevancy. We can tie anything to something. So yeah, that is big plays and paydays. Now, delivering you guys with the finest content, we're going to wrap the show up with GM Mode. 2 and Sam are both bringing us their teams. So we'll let them both run their teams, and then we'll give them their what is that called? Like an A grade kind of thing. Grading.
Yeah, give them a grading. Yeah.
What's that grading scale called when it's an A, B, C, D, E, or an F?
I actually have no idea.
It's got a name anyway. But yep, Melbourne, let's go.
Yes, so I was given the honour of doing the Melbourne Storm team. Originally, I was going to give it to the bro, But after I saw what everyone else did to the Melbourne Storm, I figured, oh, you know what, I'll just take one for the team and pretty much go
Everyone
into
else,
recovery
or
mode. Look, I couldn't even give you like what I started with because I think we had a few key players go. By the time I got to the team, let's see if I can look at some of these trades. Jerome Hughes was gone by the time I got to the team. Pep and Grant Anderson gone. I think those were like the main ones that were
Wishart.
gone. And
Wishart
Wishart.
is gone.
no, Wishart
Gone.
wasn't gone. It was the arrival of Luke Brooks.
Yeah.
Gone. Gone is what he was.
So, tough times, whānau. But hey, look, we were left with Munster. Whālonga wasn't going anywhere. So we do have pieces. Harry Grant, luckily, I don't know how he didn't get poached. And I'm thankful he didn't. So, yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, he did get poached?
Samuel took him. He took Pep, Grant, and Anderson and left you with Charlie Staines and who?
Stafford.
Stafford. Has he even played a game?
He's been injured this year. He's played like
He
2
hasn't
games.
played a game.
No, he's played 2 games.
You got
I
a
thought
great
Grant
deal
was
there.
in this team.
No, he is. Harry Grant.
Yeah.
You took him?
No, I
He
took,
took
Grant Anderson.
I thought you took Harry as well.
Nah, I wanted to, but he got him before I could do the Cowboys and take him. No,
Anyway,
I never got
Harry
Harry
Grant is still on the team. Look, we had to get pretty much like creative with the moves that we did. So I'm just going to say the team and we'll go over the trades that I did. So Whālonga, welcome to that starting fullback position. It is now yours. Pep, you are gone. And forever injured, I hope. In we go. Warbrick and
Fucking
Coates,
hater.
they still stay because they're not going anywhere. But the two centres have been changed. Obviously, Nick Meaney and Howarth. I think Nick Meaney might have just got dropped. I'm trying to see if I sent him anywhere. It doesn't look like it. But one of the first ones is Chance Nickel Cookstad. He came over in the Tamati Martin trade. Was Tamati Martin and Chance for Hughes. So we have put Chance in at centre. And I believe I just signed Tolu Kola.
No. He was part of the Luke Brooks trade.
He was part of the Luke Brooks trade, whānau. That's how Kola ended up over here.
I have to give you guys some form of value, unlike the Staines and the Stafford trade.
Hey man, Tigers wingers go to the Storm and CB somehow turns them into players.
Shut up. Okay, now, mate.
What do you mean?
Oh, we're just going to get the valley shot.
Did Coro B not turn into a player? Did Josh Carr not turn into a player?
Wasn't because they were there. Fucking hell, mate.
I'm not lying. Josh Adokar was quite good at the Tigers.
Trades. Mean ass.
Yeah, there's rationale behind them.
The team is still shit. Fucking hell.
Fuck, I can't wait for you guys to be in the spoon race next year.
Oh, they will be joining yous, and hopefully you'll still win your 4th in a row. Along with the other 5 wooden spoon you won for the rest of your team. I've never seen a club win every wooden spoon. That's more impressive than Penrith winning the fucking title in every division. What are you talking about?
You're 5 weeks late to this conversation.
Fucking hell, mate.
Get at me 5 weeks ago when I saw this was happening.
Back to the show.
No. We on now.
Anyway, Munster's still here.
Yeah, trash.
One of the big trades we did, because we had the great Luke Brooks and Tamati Martin. We had to send them somewhere. So I figured, why not package them together and get a 7 who's a veteran, kind of been on the bigger stage, had his ups and downs, but someone who's just a vet. So we shipped them both to the Dragons and Ben Hunt. So Ben Hunt is now the 7 at Melbourne Storm. I feel as though a halves combo of Munster and Hunt keeps you at least relevant or in their top echelon. Obviously, we have Stefano. He's coming over from the West Tigers. He's still in our team. He's paired up with Tukohirangi. Sean Bloor is the one edge. And then now this happened via like 3 trades, I'm pretty sure, but the 12 and 13 come from the Bulldogs. So that is Salmon, he is one of the edge, and the 13 is Kurt Mann. Now the way it happened, and I might have to get verification from this, is that Victor Radley ended up on the Storm for like, I can't remember what the trade was, but it was like Victor Radley came from the Roosters via the Storm. Was that the Ali Katoa trade?
No. Ali came for no Fahu.
You know what?
So Victor went. So I got rid of Victor.
Yeah,
I sent him to the Knights for Cam Murray, and then where did I go? So I got Cam Murray for Victor Radley, and then when he went to the Knights, I think I switched. Oh yeah, then I got Jonah Pezza and Jack Howarth at the Knights, so I needed a half at the Knights. And then I sent Jack Howarth to Manly, I think it was. The way I got Howarth to the Roosters is longer than the way you got Radley to the Storm.
Well, anyway, Victor Radley was on this team for about half a day, Fano. And I decided to ship him to my Bulldogs because my Bulldogs needed a 13. And we shipped over Salmon and Kurt Mann and Connor Tracy. So Connor Tracy is taking up that number 14 jersey. Victor Radley is now a Bulldog via the Storm via 4 other teams. And the rest of the bench is as follows. So we have Alec McDonald at 15. Christian Welch is still here. And Aho White came over in the Ali Katoa trade. Rounding off the team, we have Young Toinu Maipia.
Young Toinu
Yeah. Stafford, he was part of the Pep and Grant Anderson trade. Jake Simpkins.
Trade or robbery?
Oh, look, call it what you want.
No. Hey, man. They had far longer. They needed a bit of salary cap easement, you know?
No,
hey, man, I feel like if there's any team in the comp...
I got a question, though. Leodol was in the Queensland squad at some point, wasn't he?
Well, he's not on my team. Is it your team? No.
Yeah, I know. You've got some bum called Kurt Mann in his position.
Eh?
Some bum called Kurt... Yeah, I do.
You do?
I do.
Totally didn't watch Bulldog games this year.
Did you watch the Storm this year?
Games.
Did you watch the Storm this year?
I watched the Kurt Mann as well. Our season went downhill when he got injured.
Your team was all shit to begin with.
Still better than your shit 4-time winning.
Yeah, that's...
Okay. Well,
I don't know what his name is. Lee somebody. The brother that left. No, the guy who was running the club. Lee. His fault.
Oh, okay. Well, he's not there anymore, so we'll see what happens. But anyway, that is the team. I did the best I could. I do believe we have still an elite spine. You got elite 9, Harry Grant, elite 6, Munster. Ben Hunt still can play and so far along a future star. The wingers are still good. Warbrick, Coates, Kohler, X Factor. So I think he's an upgrade for Nick Meaney. Chance is just a solid player all around. And then you still have the leadership off the bench. I do like White coming off the bench and Welch. I think they could provide a bit of spark. And then Connor Tracy is kind of the X Factor playing that role, whatever he's needed really. He can cover for injuries if Wailonger goes out. Yeah. That's about all I got for you, man. Do I think this team still can compete? Yeah, because they got Craig Bellamy.
I was just about to say that the one thing
as long as they got him
is you've got, arguably the greatest coach of all time on your team. So that's a huge difference maker for a lot of these teams. Is some of the more stacked teams don't have the coach to go with it, and some of the lesser stacked teams have a great coach to go with it. So that's a great. You done I think really well with what you had. I mean, the Victor Radley was a layup for you, really. It was. I was looking to move him. I moved him from the Roosters and I moved him from the Knights.
originally he wasn't even going to get moved. But then I think it was the night you two went on your hour-long fucking Penrith thing. So I was like, oh, you know what? Yeah, I can kind of make my Bulldogs better. Let's just quickly do this move. And then I woke up the next morning thinking, you know what? I still like that move. It will stick. So that's how Bradley ended up there, and those three ended up here. But yeah.
All right, what do you got for your Canberra Raiders, my man?
Rightio. I'm not rehashing out this trade because it was 16 players, and go back to like 3 weeks ago. you could listen to what the trade was. Alrighty. Basically, the way I looked at this, I looked at who I wanted to keep, and then I did go down the path of let's try get the all English team. Nobody wants to play in Canberra anyway. Let's get all the English brothers over here. But yeah, people didn't want to trade me Radley. People didn't want to trade me the mighty
Who the hell
Will
is
Price.
CHN?
The same one it's been the whole time. Corey.
He's dead.
Well, he's still on the roster. He was still on 0 tackle.
Gee, he hasn't played a down.
Yeah, not allowed to at the moment.
I don't think he's ever going to play.
Well, our doctors are saying otherwise.
Erase it.
No,
Erase it. It's
no.
not allowed.
Our doctors are saying otherwise.
It's not approved.
Our doctor, hey, he's already
It's
on
not
the
approved.
team. He
He's
hasn't
not
been
on
moved.
the team. He hasn't been cleared by no doctor.
Our
Switch
doctors are saying otherwise.
it. You have no doctors.
We do. Our doctors are saying
You didn't
KP.
pass. You didn't pass first year health side.
I
You can't approve
study
it.
You know, see, but I found a doctor that has also said KP not able to play. That same doctor has said Corey, all good. You can come back. And also, I just didn't really know what to do without him.
Just switch him with Hopoate.
No. No, that means he can come in, and I'll be honest, I didn't finish this team because I was trying to do trades. But then we didn't do the whole other team. There we go. Corey, you're still on the team, though. I'll just put that out there. We just need
Part
to be
of the
medically
coaching
cleared.
staff at this rate.
No. He's an option. All right, anyway.
Yeah, for Ricky.
Anyway, this team, yeah, you know, had a lot of Queenslanders. They all said, want to go back to Queensland. So they all went to the Cowboys. Our team ended up being Sean Stevenson. We signed to the Cowboys and we traded the Lewis Reese that brother, the Welsh one. So we did kind of that with him. So our fullback is Sean Stevenson. There was a trade previously. They got Tarpanet to the Tigers, which revolved around Bateman going back to the Raiders. Once the all English team got canned, I sent him to. We did a trade with the Dragons that sent Christian Tuipulotu and Blake Lawrie to the Raiders for John Bateman. So Tuipulotu is one of my wings. There was a trade which I forgot to write down, so I don't actually know who the trade was. I think it was Valame and Violet that went to the Panthers for one of the McLean brothers, the one that plays on the wing. And he's our other winger. Our centres are still Seb Chris and Timoko. Our six are still Ethan Strange. I did think about going Strange and Sanders in the halves, but you know, this Mikey Lewis, he's tearing up Super League. He's looking really good. Scores a lot of tries, gets a lot of try assists, plays in the halves. His highlights, he's got a really strong running game, so I'd like to see him at some point end up over here. He's pretty young too. I think he's like 24. So, you know, my thinking was they also get young English halves that come over and tend to actually play at least semi-decent. As part of that Joey Tarpanet trade, we had David Clemmer come back. And then, per the Cowboys trade, we had Jason Taumalolo come down. I don't actually remember how I got Lussick. I can't lie.
Manly trade.
Yeah. I sent Hudson Young and Tom Starling to Manly. Got back Lehigh, Hopewadi, what's his name? Felice Kafusi, and then Joey Lussick. The other two got moved. got moved to the Cowboys. Lussick is here. They've signed Matty Nicholson from the Super League, so he's coming to the starting 11. Jeremiah Nanai was part of that trade as well, so he's the 12. Morgan Smithy's had a really solid year, so he holds down his spot of 13. Kyle Weeks is our 14. I imagine there would be a point where he'd probably come in to be fullback and Sean Stevenson might go to the wing. Just if he's not doing too well at fullback, or if that McLean guy's not quite ready to be a full-time NRL player. Our 15 is Blake Lowry. 16 is Miles Martin. He's a young guy. I think he's the one who's come from. They've signed a Martin from the Knights. That much I do know. And then as part of that Cowboys trade, Griffin Neem is our 17th with Hopewadi. Was it Albert? Albert Hopewadi is our 18th man. I'm not reading out the others on the bench. But Corey, Harawira, you were in the squad if you're healthy, brother. That's the way we
Keyword if.
If.
And it sounds like he's medically retired.
Not when this team was made.
Looking over the Melbourne team, giving them a grade. With what you've had to what you've got now, considering the coach, I'll go with a BB+.
I'll take it.
What about you, Sam? What are you giving it?
Shit. Nah. I'll be honest, I really don't like it. I hate on it because it's Stefano. I'm pissed he's leaving. But they do have Grant. They do have Munster. They've still got Coates and Warbrick. Big fan of Chance. Big fan of Kohler. Admittedly, had I got this, I probably would have put Kohler at fullback. Just because last year when he was at Manly and he was playing fullback there, he looked really good at times. Ben Hunt, 35. And then the other one, man, Theodore is so good, and he just somehow didn't make your top 17. So,
I mean, could say the same about Big Griff. You left him well off your list.
No, because he was getting traded.
Do you even watch Cowboys games with Big Griff?
I definitely do. Because I was trading him, and then you didn't want to talk to me about Liam Martin. Hey man, Liam Martin was going to look really good in Canberra.
No one looks good in Canberra. What was your final score? What is your final score?
I've got Craig Bellamy, so it has to be like a B+.
Nice.
That's a heavy on Bellamy too.
Nice. And over to the Raiders. Look, man. It just looks like a shambles. Just looking at it here on paper, it looks like a shambles. There's no consistency in it.
Hey, what do you mean? That's a sticky team if I've ever seen one.
It's just, I don't know, man.
Looks shit and somehow nearly makes the 8.
B-?
Is that
JT's aged. You're putting a lot of hope in Super League. Ethan Strange, like, as good as I think he is, I don't know if he's like ready to be the guy to lead this team. If you're putting all this hope on this.
Mikey. That's Mikey and Sean. They can lead this team.
That's why I think it's a B minus. I just still hate Seb Chris.
Yeah, me too, but I couldn't trade him.
No one wants him.
Ideally, he would have been the 18th man.
What do you reckon, too? What are you giving it?
Yeah, probably in the B minus one. Just looking at the spine is my main worry.
Yeah, that's what's got me.
Yeah, Sean Stevenson, I'd assume, could make the transition over quite comfortably.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of how long it'll take for him to adjust.
No qualms about Sean A. It's just, whether or not he's going to fit within this team. It's like this team, just for him, I think there's a lot of growing pains in this team. So I think it'll be hard for him to grow. There looks like there's a lack of leadership.
Sticky in the Raiders, man. It's all on him.
It's just the halves. Like, Ethan Strange, he hasn't really proved anything yet. But he does look like a first grader. And then the slowest kid, I mean, no one even, unless you watch Super League, you don't know him. So it's just too many unknowns.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I only found him because I went to the Super League looking for wingers and then seen this dude who was leading. Oh, he was like pretty high in tries, and I think he was leading tries just when I looked. Just Googled him. Hey, he's a half. Let's go. It's the only way I got him.
Even then, I feel as though he's kind of regressed. This hasn't been his best year. He's still young though, so. Then Tom Milano coming of age, him and Clemmer, but they're on the wrong side of their careers. Yeah,
so I always in the sticky man. He's going to drop them to reserve grade. And they're never to be seen from again. My one question. I said it in the chat before and then realised nobody saw it. Who kicks for your Melbourne team?
Yeah, I did see that, yeah.
What, surely someone in here can kick? Got a whole, I think Kohler kicks randomly.
Does he?
Could be wrong about that.
I think he does everything else, so surely, actually. Let's see. Well, this might be
But I don't really take that into account when I was making this team.
I look like that's how I ended up with Sean. I was like, fuck, I don't know if Mikey kicks. I don't know.
I think that's why I got a couple of rugby players on my teams as well, as just for their kicking ability.
It was that. It was like, I don't know anyone who really kicks. So, Sean, brother, you're not getting picked for the All Blacks for whatever reason.
At least I got a couple on my Roosters squad.
Where is your Roosters team?
But there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's GM mode. 2 teams, 1 episode. We'll be pumping out the next. There's 3 teams left now.
I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we got a couple of teams left, which means we'll get around to it eventually. Closing off with maybe not Tuesday's episode. Oh no, on Tuesday I'll be doing Roosters.
Who's got teams left? I've still got.
You've got Dragons, I've got Roosters, and we've got Panthers together.
Panthers, yeah.
So Tuesday I'll do Roosters. Thursday we'll do. Well, we've only got the grand final preview, and we might as well pump out those last 2 teams.
Yep. We can definitely do that.
So there you go, Fano. Make sure to tune back in on Tuesday if you want to see what this vocal Roosters hater did to the Roosters squad. I guess you've already heard that Jack Howarth somehow makes his way to the squad. It's a long process, that one. So we might need about 5 chapters just to get through it. But yeah, there was a few moves here and there, but it's good to go. So I just want to say, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and share it with your friends and whānau because we appreciate all the support we get. We're still looking for sponsors. But in the meantime, 99 Dreams, thank you so much for keeping the lights on and letting us do what we do. That's it from me, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to hand it over to Sam and 2 for the final words.
Yep. Big thanks to 99 Dreams. And, hey, man, comment if you've got anything. If you're a Raiders fan, man, don't send for me. Don't send for me because I ain't got much to defend on this Raiders team that I gave you guys. It's too many Queenslanders. Too many Queenslanders in your team. But yeah, other than that, like, comment, subscribe. Over to you too.
As always, we'd like to give a shout out to all of our friends and family, both near and far. We really do appreciate the support here on the practice run. And that is it, whānau. We have literally 2 rounds left to go. Big weekend this weekend. Although, let's be honest, we expect both these games to be pretty one-sided. And I think we all want the final of the Storm versus the Panthers. I know I picked the Roosters for the upset, but Storm versus Panthers, I don't get no better than that. But only time will tell. I don't really have much else to say other than we will see you on Tuesday. Other than that, whānau, please be safe out there, and we will see you when we see you. Chur to the chur, mā te wā.